welcome back to The Revolution and a different sort of video in the lead up to WWE 2K25 as we discuss a showcase that we would have loved to have seen in 2025, especially given the significance around some certain anniversaries. So pull up a seat, grab a drink and let's talk about two of the very best in all of women's wrestling, Lita and Trish Stratus. To be sure you don't miss out on any of our WWE 2K25 content, hit the bell icon and subscribe to the channel. You can stay connected to The Revolution on several platforms under the handle Revolution, including here on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, Threads and Twitch, as well as TikTok and X under the handle RevolutionYT. You can also head on over to our official website www.revolution.com for all the latest women's wrestling news, recaps and more. Over the last few weeks, WWE and 2K have been teasing various updates to their upcoming WWE 2K title, with teasers of a possible intergender mode, an underground match, the return of chain wrestling, and most interestingly, a possible NBA-style city under the Isle of Relevancy moniker. Earlier this month, WWE and 2K unveiled their first tease for this year's game, with Roman Reigns set to make an official announcement on January 28th, with many theorising that this year's main cover star will indeed be Roman Reigns, along with a Bloodline-themed showcase highlighting the rise and the fall of the Roman Empire in WWE. In this video, we're not going to delve into the teasers made so far and our thoughts and theories, but be sure to stay tuned to the channel as more announcements are made on what that means for WWE 2K25. So you might be wondering, well, what's the point of this video and where am I going, and more importantly, where do Trish and Lita come into all of this? Well, bear with me, I promise it will be worth it. Going back to the yet to be revealed showcase mode, I'm here to say why I think WWE 2K25 would be the perfect title to celebrate Trish and Lita, and no, not just because of the women and we love women's wrestling here on the channel, but the meaning and the significance behind it. And come on, let's face it, I think it's time the women get another shot at showing just how bloody brilliant they are. In my opinion, 2025 would be the perfect year to celebrate Trish Stratus and Lita with a showcase of their very own, as this year both Trish Stratus and Lita celebrate 25 years in WWE, with Trish debuting way back in March 2000 and Lita making her real official debut back in February of 2000. Lita did originally appear as one of Godfather's hosts back in 1999, but that doesn't really count as her official debut. That's a whopping 25 years of different eras of women's wrestling, with both women acting as both heel and face in their careers, being friends and foes, not to mention competing with and alongside some of the very best in all of women's wrestling. Legends such as Jazz, Molly Holly, Gail Kim, Jacqueline, Ivory, Victoria, Stacey Keibler and Mickie James, and so many more helped mould Lita and Trish into the stars we know and love today, not to mention newer stars such as Becky Lynch and Charlotte have all played a role in their careers. That's not to say that I think all those women will return to the WWE series, but under a new management, talent such as Jazz have a much bigger chance than in recent years thanks to a clean slate and how WWE now celebrates those who paved the way for the women of today. I, for one, would love to see Jazz recreated in the WWE 2K engine and finally recreate those iconic matches between both Trish and Lita, because let's face it, nobody did it like Jazz. There are so many different ways you could celebrate both women throughout their careers, and yeah, sure, you could argue that each woman is worthy of a showcase of her very own, but I truly feel without Trish there would be no Lita, and without Lita there would be no Trish. Not like the legends they came to be, at least. For those who don't already know, back in December, Hall of Famers Trish Stratus and Lita celebrated the 20th anniversary of their Raw main event match, which saw Lita dethrone Trish Stratus and become the new WWE Women's Champion in a history-making match and moment. Even if it wasn't the 25th anniversary of both Lita and Trish, that alone is worth celebrating in one form or another in the WWE 2K series. Both Trish Stratus and Lita have been huge pioneers in not only women's wrestling in WWE, but throughout the globe, being inducted into various Hall of Fames and participating in TV shows, movies and more, being the absolute badasses that they are. So I've presented the why. Now let's move on to the who and how to help flesh out how I think the showcase could pan out. Bear in mind, this is all just a little bit of fun, so let me know how you would play out this mod and what you would include. So let's first start out with the who, because until you have the who nailed down, you can't really move forward with the how. Both Trish Stratus and Lita have faced off against countless talent over the years in various different WWE eras, including the Attitude Era, the Golden Era of women's wrestling, as well as more recently as part of the pre-WWE 2K era. With 25 years of friends and foes to choose from, there are endless names we could include, but we're going to try and be sensible and stick to those that are most likely to be featured. When it comes to the more recent portions of the showcase, talent like Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Bayley, Dakota Kai and Io Sky, as well as possibly Zoe Stark, could easily be featured thanks to those more recent returning matches over the last few years, which saw Trish and Lita once again lace up their boots. It's when it comes down to the more classic matches that we have to try and think a little harder, because some talent are with different companies or have issues, let's say, preventing them from appearing. Going back to Jazz, who we mentioned earlier, Jazz is someone who I think could be hit or miss, but given that Jazz and WWE have recently patched things up, maybe 2025 is the year of healing and Jazz could once again be celebrated in a WWE space. I've said it once and I will say it again, I would love nothing more than to kick ass with Jazz in a WWE 2K title. Aside from Jazz, I think there is a possibility we could see the likes of Ivory and Jacqueline return to the WWE 2K series, alongside regulars like Molly Holly, Chyna, and Stephanie McMahon, who have appeared consecutively in the last few titles. Mickie James could be another superstar we see return to the series after appearing in various Women's Royal Rumble matches since departing WWE, before making her return to WWE last year as part of the upcoming developmental show LFG. Last year, it was also revealed that the ever-iconic Victoria had signed a Legends deal with WWE, allowing the former women's champion, an all-round badass, to appear in WWE video games, merchandise and more. Victoria played a huge role in the careers of Trish and Lita, like all the previously mentioned women, appearing in steel cage matches, hardcore matches and street fights, so what better way to showcase those type of matches. So we've pretty much narrowed it down to Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Bayley, Dakota Kai, Io Sky, Jazz, Victoria, Mickie James, Ivory, Molly Holly, Jacqueline, Stephanie McMahon and Chyna, and of course Trish Stratus and Lita, and possibly Zoe Stark. Now we need to talk about the how. Each showcase over the years has had its own theme which plays out over the course of the mod, highlighting different eras of not only the WWE, but the superstar and how they evolve over the course of their career. Last year, WWE 2K25 Showcase celebrated 40 years of WrestleMania with 21 matches documenting WWE over the decades. If I was to be reasonable, I imagine we would have around 16 matches in the showcase, as in prior titles such as WWE 2K23, giving us a fair amount of matches to choose from and whittle down. Splitting the showcase in halves would allow Trish and Lita to have around 7 matches each, a joint WrestleMania match, along with 1 or 2 unlockable matches at the end of the showcase as part of a dream scenario or new match type gameplay, but more on that later. There are so many matches and moments that I would have loved to include, for example, Trish and Lita's in-ring debuts and the iconic hardcore matches between Trish and Victoria, but sadly I couldn't include everything, so let's see what I did include and join in at home with what you would include for your matches. Starting out with Lita's 7 matches, I went with the August 2000 episode of Monday Night Raw, which saw Stephanie McMahon defend her WWE Women's Championship against Lita, with The Rock acting as special guest referee. Next up, the Judgment Day 2001 Women's Championship match between Chyna and Lita, which saw Chyna compete in her very last WWE match. The third match I included was the first ever women's steel cage match in WWE between Lita and Victoria. The only slight niggle would be the appearance of Matt Hardy towards the end of the match, but I'm sure we could work around that somehow. We would then have the infamous December 2004 episode of Monday Night Raw, which saw Trish Stratus and Lita compete for the WWE Women's Championship. This match would allow WWE and 2K to include the iconic attires for Trish and Lita that everybody loves to hate and hates to love. Up next would be the Survivor Series 2006 Women's Championship match between Mickie James and Lita, which would act as Lita's original retirement match in WWE. Following the retirement match, we would then have the iconic return to form match from Lita and Becky Lynch at Elimination Chamber 2022 for the Raw Women's Championship. Finally, Lita's half of the showcase would round out with the February 2023 episode of Monday Night Raw, which saw Damage Control defend the Women's Tag Team Championships against the now friends Becky and Lita. As I say, I could include so many iconic matches for Lita, but I wanted to capture pivotal moments not only for Lita, but women's wrestling as a whole, such as the first ever matches as well as final moments. Between matches, a narrator would document Lita's career and her journey through WWE, capturing the highs and lows, as well as Lita's return in recent years. Moving on to Trish Stratus, first up we would start with the Survivor Series 2001 six-pack challenge match, which saw Trish Stratus, Ivory, Jazz, Mighty Molly Holly, Lita and Jacqueline competing for the WWE Women's Championship. Next up, WrestleMania 19, which saw Trish Stratus, Jazz and Victoria battling it out for the WWE Women's Championship. Onto another WrestleMania as friends turned four, Mickie James and Trish Stratus faced off for the Women's Championship in their iconic WrestleMania 22 match. Next up, Unforgiven 2006, which saw Trish Stratus and Lita facing off for the Women's Championship in Trish's original retirement match. In our next match, we see Trish Stratus return to the WWE for her SummerSlam 2019 SmackDown Women's Championship match against Charlotte Flair. Speaking of returns, we see a return of Trish's evil side as she faces off against Becky Lynch at Night of Champions 2023, along with a little help from Zoe Stark. And lastly, our final match in Trish's half of the showcase, we have the Payback 2023 Steel Cage match between Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch, which saw two generations clash in one hell of a match. Like with the Lita showcase, I could have included so many iconic Trish matches with the likes of Jazz, the hardcore matches with Victoria, but I wanted to capture specific moments of history and what Trish gave to not only WWE, but the fans. To round out the mod, I would have Trish and Lita reunited as we go back to WrestleMania 39, which saw Lita and Trish finally team together on the grandest stage of them all, alongside Becky Lynch, to take on Damage Control. In true WWE 2K form, the showcase isn't over until it's really over, with bonus matches to play and dream scenarios and what if moments. First off, you would have to have Trish and Lita finally getting their WrestleMania main event match moment as the pair face off in a last woman standing match to finally settle who is the best woman of the two. For those lucky enough to put down their foot, I would have one final challenge unlock with Trish and Lita once again reuniting, either at WrestleMania or SummerSlam, as they compete in a tag team championship gauntlet eliminator match to show why Team Bestie are the best and showcase a new match type for WWE 2K. Over the years, fans have complained about having to play as a single superstar throughout showcase mode, but having a mix of win and loss matches for both Lita and Trish allows players to not only play as Trish and Lita, but also their opponents in matches that saw Trish and Lita lose. The matches would also allow a few variations of superstars such as Mighty Molly Holly, Stephanie McMahon Helmsley, as well as big-time Becky Lynch, not to mention the stunning Judgment Day version of Chyna that looks just as great as it did then. For the male wrestling fans, our panned-out showcase would offer up classic versions of superstars such as The Rock, Triple H, Kurt Angle and Matt Hardy, who we mentioned earlier. The showcase would also offer up a series of different match types such as special guest referee, Steel Cage, six-pack challenge and the bonus tag team matches we proposed. If the WWE 2K25 teasers are anything to go by, it does look as though we may be getting a Bloodline showcase for this year's game, but who knows, maybe next year we might get a Trish and Lita showcase. I just can't help feel but like they missed out on this massive opportunity, being able to celebrate the 25th anniversary of two of WWE's biggest female superstars. So there's our layout for a possible Trish Stratus and Lita showcase. Let us know in the comments below what you think and what you would change or include if you had control of showcase mode. Remember, this is all just a bit of fun, so there is no right or wrong answers. To be sure you don't miss out on any of our upcoming WWE 2K25 content, hit the bell icon and subscribe to the channel. You can also stay connected with us on social media by using either Revolution or Revolution YT, or by heading on over to our official website www.revolution.com. Until next time, I've been the Revolution and it's time to rock and roll with some passion and fury.